Listen, you know me. Okay, sorry I look like this, but I've got this thing on my mind. I've got to get it out there. I don't know. I'm sure that many of you have thought of this at the point, but it's just like we're all pissed off with this fucking big, beautiful fucking bill. I know that the MAGA is just thrilled to this, but most of those four fucking folks that really want to believe in the MAGA shit, it's going to hurt them the most. And I feel really bad for them, and that's why I don't go out of my way to, try to go out of the way and insult them too much, because really, seriously, I feel bad for you, okay? And the problem is, this is Donald Trump's bill, okay? This is his big, beautiful bill that he ramrodded through there, and we had to have it by July 4th. Fucking guy is an idiot, Never in my life. I don't care. I've lived through a bunch of bad presidents in my years, but none of them were evil. They were just bad, okay? Or maybe not quite so bad, but, still, okay. But I've never wished any of them as much ill as I do this fucking administration. I advocating, any kind of violence against the man or his administration, because one of the worst thing that you do is you make them a fucking martyr. And I do not want to see Donald Trump's picture on a $3 bill in this country ever, okay? I do not want to see his face on Mount Rushmore. I do not want to see his name anywhere. I want him to disappear. That doesn't mean that he can't live a normal and happy life, providing he can, take care of himself. I don't think the man has the capability right now. I mean, I'm going to Joe Biden. God bless the man. He tried. He worked very, very hard, and it was like, at the end, he just couldn't do it anymore. But he knew enough to step aside, unlike this fucking idiot. All right? But that's not the real big problem. The problem is not so much Donald Trump, but the minions that support him. And I'm not talking about the people out there in, Podunk, Mississippi, or anything else like that. I am talking about Congress. Yeah. House of Representatives, for one thing. Easiest to control. There's 435 of them as opposed to 100 senators. It's a lot harder to get rid of a senator than it is to get rid of a congressman. Okay? And you know what? It doesn't take a whole lot of energy. You and I, we got to go up against the federal government? Fucking, we'll find ourselves over in a prison in South Sudan somewhere. Okay? Out of the way. Captain Stephen Miller will escort you out. Okay? Okay. Anyway, the idea is to say, okay, you've got a congressperson that's for your district in your state, and he roughly controls, I don't know, I think, at least even in California where they got like 40-something, and they got, it roughly is equivalent to about 1 million, 2 million people in that area, okay? And as you notice, right, unless you're in a, hard blue or hard red state, the margins are not that far apart. There's going to be some out there in, in Ohio, red state that says, I'm not a Democrat, but I will vote blue on this one, I'm not a Republican, but I will vote red on that. I will vote blue on that one. You know what I'm saying? Or just like, okay. My beef is that we need to go after our individual congresspeople in our district. Don't try to take the Senate on yet. Don't try to take the president on yet. What you want to do is influence your local government first. And even if it has to be like, say, well, I don't know if I'm ready to tackle on a congressman, but you know what? I sure would like to, improve things around and get rid of this fucking asshole that is governor or whatever it is, or, or sheriff, for crying out loud, and influence it that way, all right? Me, if I was saying, I say, just go with the guys that are not for this fucking current administration, support them. And if it's a Republican, go for a Democrat, or just, right, do what I do when it's comes like that. I write my wife's name, man. I said, first of all, if my wife gets elected, I'm very, very happy for her success. Plus, it gives me a little extra time around here. Okay, love the woman, but, I need my space. Anyway, so I'm going up against my Congress person, Glenn Grothman. Okay, now I'm going to put up, hopefully I get to put up a thing of Glenn Grothman here for you. He's a Republican in Wisconsin's 6th District, and yeah, normally I don't really have a beef with him or anything else like that, but, he just is, on the scale of voting for the Trump administration, I think he has a rating of about 98.7%. It's really up there. I mean, I don't know. Well, Mr. Trump, I really like this. I can picture what the time, the time that he would say that, he would disagree with Trump would be to say, oh, Mr. Trump, I really like your bill, but, I do like to pick my nose in public. Is that something that you're going to outlaw? I can't vote for the bill because of that or something, something stupid. Something that only Glenn would say, are we going to tax raisins now? Anyway, my thing is to get rid of Glenn Grothman. I am fortunate enough to be on his, subscribed to his YouTube, Facebook page, okay? And here he'll show, and basically what it's saying is that when you look on Facebook and you see what the comments are generally negative on him. Now, he won the last one in 2024. He won that handily against some guy that I don't know. I never heard of him before. I'm supposed he would have been better than Glenn Grothman, that's for sure. But he's running as a Democrat, and I knew nothing about him. Nonetheless, I voted for him because I do not need another maggot congressman representing me on that thing. The guy is a fucking turd, okay? Because if he votes for everything, you listen to him, he's not up there much. But when he does get up in front of a camera, if you look for him for much, he's an idiot. He takes from the Trump playbook everything from acting stupid to making stupid statements and everything else like that. And he's on there, and I get on his Facebook page because I want to find out what he's up to. Now he supposedly, I'm in Sheboygan, okay, which is in his district, and he supposedly had a town hall somewhere. He was going to have a town hall, but he keeps on canceling it. He's afraid to get up there because he's afraid for people to ask him questions about what he voted for in his big, beautiful bill. That you're going to lose your Medicaid, Badger Care. You're going to lose all that shit that you count on. Believe me, I worked as a tax preparer, and I met all these folks that were on Badger Care. And if this fucking clown is going to get rid of it for you, then you better think about, I sure own the libs on this one. It's more than me, pal. It's you too, and that's where I'm feeling bad for you, okay? So, chill a little bit. Just listen to me for a minute, okay? It's not going to work out well for you. And the only way we're going to solve this thing and make it better, and if we can work together and get rid of Glenn Grothman, who is just another mini Trump. And I don't know. This could be rumors, and and I'm just asking for a friend. I just got something here on Facebook says, does anyone know if Glenn Grothman Republican 6th District, is the son of Virginia Fox, Republican North Carolina, or her side piece? I mean, I'm just asking the question. I read it somewhere, okay? So it's just like Donald Trump. They're eating the dogs. Well, I read it somewhere, okay? So you can say that, okay? So we want to get rid of Glenn Grothman. And the only way we're going to do that is to come together and do what really hurts the Republicans the absolute most. You can't fight them with logic. It doesn't do it. The only thing you can do is humiliate the shit out of them, okay? And this is what we do with the Republicans. We humiliate the shit out of them using their own weapons against them, okay? And that's what we're going to do with Glenn Grothman. We're going to start that, real soon. I'll get to that in just a minute here. Okay, okay. I only met Glenn Grothman once, and this is, there is a VFW here in Sheboygan, I'm a vet, I love going there for their fish fries, and it's a really good fish fry. And there are a bunch of people sitting down there, and you look across at a VFW, or go to a VFW fish fry, it is awesome. Do that for yourself, because it's just realizing that, my God, I'm sitting with my grandfather again, or my dad again. And you see all these old guys in there just kind of like wander around. And that's just, I just want to talk to them, but I said, you know what? I know what they've been through. They don't need another kid in their life, They're just hanging around with their buddies. And it's wonderful, okay? But I went down to this VFW here in Sheboygan, had a fish fry, and I'm there with my wife, and we're just kind of like, it's nice, So you got a long table, and you got these older ladies that are just saying, you need something else, honey, or something like that, and they'll come right up to you, and you'll say, I feel pretty good, So, and guess who comes in? Now, see, guess who comes in? This is Glenn. Glenn comes in, and I see them there, and he always wears that blue fucking shirt with one shirt tail hanging down by his crotch somewhere, and he's always at says, here I am in Sheboygan Falls eating a wiener, or here I am down there in Waldo, chowing down on corn and ham, or it is just about, or wherever the hell he is, I'm not really thinking about Wisconsin towns right now. I can have trouble enough remembering my name. But anyway, he comes down there, and he's in there, and there he is. He's got himself his fish fry, okay? And he comes in there, and there he is. He comes in there. I swear to God, from the time the guy came in, he's holding his tray in one hand and his phone in the other, and he's just going like that, And you see some of these ladies that come up to him and he go, hi, back to the phone. You see some guy come up there, these are older folks. These are probably, I would say, 92% Republicans, anyway, and voted for the guy. Wisconsin, Sheboygan is pretty much a Republican. It's kind of reddish purple or something like that, at that point. But it's that way, and they're fine. Most people aren't radical, or they're not, doomsday preppers or shit like that, But anyway, so Glenn's just kind of, and all these people kind of, they just want to talk to him. They just want to say something. And Glenn's down here, I got my phone. All right, yeah, hey, good to see you. Charlie. It's Derek. And he goes down and he eats his fucking meal, and he's still, even while he's eating, he's got his face in his fucking phone, Okay, that's irritating enough. I know when I do it, it irritates the shit out of my wife. But anyway, he's there just with his phone, okay? So, anyway. So he gets up there, and when he gets up, he kind of puts his phone in his pocket as he's as he's just getting up and leaving. Okay. Now the way you do this at the VFW is once you're done, you go up and you bring the ticket that the gal gave you. up there, and you bring it up to the bar, which is at the other side of the VFW hall, and you bring it up there and you pay for it. Now, even if you're a vet, you still have to pay it, right? This all goes towards the organization. Now, Glenn Grothman, I guess he's a vet. He, according to his Wikipedia, he served in the Army Reserves from 1975 to 1981. He was a captain. And not much. I mean, it doesn't look like he went on any kind of wars or anything else like that, so it doesn't look like he would really qualify for a VFW membership. He would certainly qualify for, probably American Legion, I'm sure, but not VFW membership. So it's like, and I'm not a VFW, I was in the military for 11 years, but never in a war zone, okay? Sorry. Wouldn't have been much good in a war zone. I'd probably. Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay, so you go up there, and when you're at the VFW, you go up and you bring your ticket up, and you pay for your meal. Okay, and you go for that. Glenn, out the door. Now, I don't say he didn't pay for it. He probably may have, in some fashion or another. I mean, I'm not going to accuse, a guy that makes $185,000, just rubber stamping everything Trump says, of walking out in his bill, But anyway, I didn't see him do it, so I didn't see him pay for it. So, okay, I paid for mine, maybe if some kind of relationship he has with Pete Hegseth that allows him not to do that. I'm certainly not going to go up against the federal government right now. But I am going out for you, Glenn Grothman. I am coming after you. The rest of us are coming after you. We are coming after you because you didn't win by that much any election, Yeah, you may get, 65%, but that's still, you can't afford to lose much. 15% of us. Maybe there's 1 million of us in the district. So that means, all right, so that means we come up with 150,000 and you're gone. And those aren't, and that's total population. I would think that the voters, somewhere between 250 and 500,000 maybe. And all we need to do is get about 15% of that. And so that means about 10,000 votes. 15,000 votes that we can switch. Maybe less. Because I think some of the people that you really, really counted on to keep supporting you because you kissed Trump's ass all the fucking time was going to get you through. Nah, you're starting to take a leak on the same people that have voted for you all this time, and I don't think they appreciate that much. Because, we're too polite to point that out to them and just say, okay, they'll eventually figure it out. And gradually they are. The smarter of your stupid people are figuring it out. Yes, they're becoming smarter for it. Watch out, Glenn. Dump Glenn 2026. Adios. Listen, if you have any things you want to talk about, you know where to get me. Bye-bye.